final countdown to May 23rd begins as we hit the fifth phase of polling. Hello and welcome to Explained, where we're going to analyze the significance of this particular phase. Big hitting is promised, and because there are some of the best players in this particular round, exciting clashes there, but 51 seats are going to polls in 7 states, and some important battleground states going to polls.
Yes, and UP being one of them. I mean, you have some of the top political names of the country in the fray. Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, as big as it can get in terms of the stakes in this election.
But I'm going to take you up on Sonia Gandhi. In this particular phase, Raebareli, which has been the Gandhi pocket borough for decades, is going to polls. Now, Sonia Gandhi has been a 3-time MP from this seat, and there was a lot of talk and a lot of chatter of maybe, Priyanka Gandhi taking over, but just the significance of the Raebareli seat for the Gandhis itself is one that cannot be missed. It
can't be. And both Raebareli and Amethi are seats that the family has personally nurtured in many words. Half the things that you see in those constituencies are after the family's names. People identify those seats entirely with the Gandhi family. So for them to do well in the seat is of utmost importance, not just in terms of political family outlook, but also in terms of their family's hold over Indian politics.
Absolutely, and this is just Sonia Gandhi's performance in Raebareli over the years. 2014, she polled 58.8% of votes. 2013, it was really high. That was the highest that she has polled before in Raebareli. So, interestingly, the BJP doesn't always field a high-profile candidate against Sonia Gandhi, except in '99 when there was this mouth-watering clash of Sushma Swaraj versus Sonia Gandhi.
Even that was done in Bellary and not in Raebareli. So in that sense, Raebareli never really has had a very strong contest. It's usually been one-sided in many ways. Sonia Gandhi has never really had a strong opponent against her, at least on that seat.
But that pattern was broken in 2014, where for the first time, the BJP actually fielded a very well-recognized face, a big name in her own right, against Rahul Gandhi, and this was in Amethi. Now, Sonia Gandhi was contesting against Sushma Swaraj in '99. That was the last time you saw a high-profile battle against a Gandhi. And in 2014 and now in 2019, the BJP are looking to continue with that.
Yes, and I think Smriti Irani's coming into the fray certainly made the contest more exciting. Remember, in 2014, Kumar Vishwas had joined the fray, and that was the year when the Aam Aadmi Party was resonating more than it is resonating now. So in that sense, that seat became a very exciting seat. This time, however, Smriti Irani is the only one in the fray. There is no Kumar Vishwas, and you have a united opposition in front of him. So it's a more a direct fight between the two, and whether Smriti Irani can pull it off or not is a big question mark.
Right, and in 2014, interestingly, Priyanka Gandhi at that point had said Smriti who, and that became part of the BJP campaign. It was said in so many words by the Prime Minister himself. And if you just see now, of course, as Vinay was mentioning, Amethi in 2014 was a triangular battle, but the impact of that was that Rahul Gandhi's vote share fell from 71% to 46%, and that is something that the BJP will be taking hope from. The fact that he's also contesting from Wayanad is something that they've been saying a lot in this particular. You've heard Smriti say that he's abandoned you and he's gone off to Wayanad.
Yes, and for the first time it came below 50%. So in the psychological barrier of the halfway mark was breached by Smriti Irani's presence there. But the one difference between 2014 and now is that in 2014 there was no combined opposition. I mean, this time there is. So there are no other opponents there. There is no BSP, there is no SPN, there is no Kumar Vishwas either. So it's a straight battle between Smriti Irani and Rahul Gandhi, and it will be very interesting to see how much of a vote share is clocked this time around, because this is the clearest direct fight that you'll see in this election.
Between the two of them, absolutely. And if Amethi and Raebareli have been the strongholds of the Gandhis, the seat of Lucknow has been a BJP stronghold for decades. Now, Atal Bihari Vajpayee represented this from 1991 onwards. 2014 is when Rajnath Singh took over. And if you just see the kind of votes that the BJP has polled in this seat from 91 onwards, they've been the undisputed champion.
Absolutely, except for 2009 when their vote share dipped. They've always been in the high 50s, and that's a very high percentage of vote share to get in any seat. The seat has never wavered from BJP. Vajpayee, one of the tallest statesmen we've ever had, never really lost from there, and that legacy is continued now with Rajnath Singh coming in the fray.
And he is going to be facing off with Poonam Sinha, well, a political lightweight, many would say, and it's something that the BJP is going to obviously look to capitalize on, even in terms of their 2014 performance. They are going to look to build that margin of victory. But we've spoken of 3 very important seats in terms of the personalities and the history of that seat. there is another seat which doesn't have a high-profile candidate, so to speak, but the seat of Faizabad. Now, Faizabad is where Ayodhya is based, and this is the epicenter of the Ram Mandir movement. Now, on your screen here are the past 3 Lok Sabha performances, and you'll see, you would expect the BJP to have won all 3, but they haven't. The BJP won in 2014, it was a Congress in 2009, and the BSP in 2004. But the seat in itself is very significant.
It's a very interesting seat in itself. Faizabad is a seat actually used to be the only left bastion in UP. I don't know how many people realize that there was one seat in UP, which actually the left used to win. Mitra Sen Yadav has won from Faizabad as a CPI candidate, much like Begusarai was a left bastion in Bihar. But from a seat which was important for left, it became completely right around the Ayodhya movement. But as you rightly said, the Ayodhya movement did not necessarily give BJP a clear edge. While Vinay Katiyar used to represent the seat once, they subsequently lost that seat as well post the Ayodhya movement. So it has had a bit of an up and down result. Even though you would assume that because Ayodhya is part of Faizabad, it would be a complete one-way traffic for the BJP.
And when in this particular campaign, you've not seen the kind of Ram Mandir rhetoric that you'd imagine. That's been replaced more with nationalism taking a forefront and the Mandir issue a backseat.
So the Hindutva and the nationalism has taken a front seat, but the aspect of building of the temple has taken a back seat, even though it's part of their manifesto. But I suppose once the Prime Minister came out in public and said that they will respect and abide by what the court says, and remember it's a sub judice matter right now, the party took a cue. Also, there were enough reports to suggest that the RSS had a feeling from the ground that it was not paying off as much as they expected to, and hence they took a pullback on the actual construction aspect of it and pushed nationalism and Hindutva more aggressively.
And another state where nationalism is going to be a very crucial issue is in Rajasthan, and more so in this particular phase. Now, the region that is going to polls is Shekhawati, and so Rajasthan, 12 seats are going to polls in this particular phase, and the BJP won all 12 in 2014. This area which is going to polls, Vinay, is the Shekhawati region, which sees a lot of army recruits being drawn from here. And in the speeches, if you track the Prime Minister's speeches in these areas, nationalism has been the main peg.
Yes, so Churu, Junjunu, Sikar, all of these areas, as you rightly said, a lot of the families have soldiers in the army from belonging to that area. It's also a border area, which means their life gets impacted by what happens at the border, whether it's cross-border firing or shelling. Their life revolves around Pakistan as a narrative, and that's the reason why nationalism is being pitched higher here than anywhere else, and Prime Minister's speeches have reflected that all through.
Right, we're going to shift focus now to Madhya Pradesh, another state where the BJP really swept in 2014. But the man on your screen, Kamal Nath, he's going to have a lot to prove. Remember, the Congress edged past the BJP in the assembly polls of 2018. And Kamal Nath is a wily old Congress hand, and this election is going to mean a lot to him.
Yes, it's his second life, political life in many ways, because Kamal Nath was written off by many. The fact that Congress did well in the assembly elections brought him back. He became the CM. Not many had given that chance maybe a couple of years ago. And now it's his opportunity to show that that was not a flash in the pan. That was something that he couldn't build on and consolidate on. If he can control the BJP and maybe reduce their margin or the strength of seats by half, Kamal Nath would have done well.
Right. And West Bengal is the next state that we are going to be talking about. Now, Mamata Banerjee and the BJP, this has become this fierce political battle between the two of them. And Mamata Banerjee has won 7 seats in this particular region that is going to polls. In fact, she won all the seats that is going to the polls. And this is almost the beginning of the southern region, which is her citadel.
That's right. Last time she got 32 in this region. If you put all the southern seats together, she got 32 out of them. So this is her strong area, and her performance here determines how well TMC does. So huge stakes for Mamata. This is also the area where the BJP's politics has not resonated as much as it has perhaps in the north, because in the north you have issues of migrant workers, of Bangladeshi immigrants and so on and so forth. There is a greater number of people from those backgrounds, not so much in the south. And that's why Mamata here has been in the driver's seat so far. Can she hold on? Big question.
The neighboring Bihar, now this is a very interesting phase, a very unique phase, so to speak, as far as Bihar is concerned. There are 5 seats going to polls. In 2014, the NDA won all 5 of this. But except one seat, which is a direct RJD versus BJP face-off, it's actually the regional allies that are going to be squaring off here.
Yes, and the allies have made that shift. The last time around, the BJP had stitched up an alliance which had one small parties which had influence only in one constituency. And this time, the RJD and Congress have managed to do that. And remember, these alliances are very critical in a state like Bihar because there are very small interdynamics between various castes which are necessary to stitch up certain numbers. And those numbers do have influence, even if it's on one seat, but they do have a role to play.
Right, as Vinay was saying, if you can just have a look at the alliances in themselves. Now, the NDA alliance is the BJP, the JDU and the LJP. But if you look on the other hand, the UPA, which is the Congress, the RJD, there are all these small parties. The RLSP, which was earlier part of the NDA alliance and has now moved over. You have some smaller parties, the HAM, VIP. There are a bunch of small parties which are contesting 1 seat, 2 seats, and the Congress is really hoping to go through on the back of their performance.
Yes, and it's a big test of that coalition management in some ways. Exactly the strategy that Amit Shah attempted earlier and now is being attempted by the Congress-led coalition. So it's a big test of whether it will work on the ground or not. It's also a big test for Amit Shah and Mr. Nitish Kumar to prove that the alliance that they've gone up with can actually match up the RJD and the Congress's might.
Well, plenty at stake, high personalities, a high-charged campaign, and 51 seats are going to go to polls in 7 states. We'd now urge all our viewers to go out and cast your vote because your vote will determine the next government of India.